Fantastic. All right, talk for me.
Yes.
Okay.
Copy that.
I just wanted to copy that. I wanted to make sure it wasn't doing that double sound weird shit that it does sometimes. Okay, awesome. All right. So anybody who is with us right now, this is Antoine Debbs, and he is an incredible, amazing, fucking up and coming artist. And I'm so excited to I'm so excited to be doing not only a live with him, but to reveal this beautiful gift that was given to me on Friday. And it's funny because this piece of art was something that I had been commenting on and sharing about, and turns out it was being made for me. And it took like 3 months to fucking do, and I just was in tears about it. And I'm gonna let him explain like more of it. And I'm gonna show it to you guys, obviously. What do you think? Do you think we should reveal it now, or do you want to explain it first? Or do you want to explain it while we're looking at it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think let's do a little small backstory, and then let's stop in the middle, and then we'll show it, and then we'll follow up.
Fabulous.
Sounds good to me. Yeah. So
please introduce yourself. We want people to know who you are, what you're doing.
Right. So my name is Antoine Debbs, but I'm going to be changing that name soon. I have an artist name. My artist name is BDYK. That stands for the best designer you know. It's pretty much because I'm an artist, but I just can't get outside of the designing world as well. So I have my feet in two places, and I just really like the way it sounds. So that's why that's my artist name. I do heavy texture, abstract, complex. Key thing about me that separates me from a lot of other artists, knowing that over time, paintings and sculptures actually do degrade. They do actually fall apart unless they're sealed together. But still I want to be an artist known for touch. So all of my pieces of artworks are intended for touch. They're, in my opinion, living, breathing things, and things made of this earth and things made by man as well are all able to, you're able to touch it. So that's what my intention behind my artwork, and that's kind of like a morality rule that I have. It's like I want all of my pieces of art intended to touch, so that when the person touches it, they can feel something as they touch it. Meaning a not a flat surface, basically. So that's kind of what I go for. And what I'm known for mostly is my black work. I do really in-depth variations of black, gloss, semi-gloss, flat, and kind of put them against one another to have a contrast of depth without light. So where there's light, no light, there's depth. Where there is light, there's presence, and it's a whole play thing on each other. So a little bit of backstory. I've been working with this coach. I've been working with resistance. That was one of the first things I've been dealing with is resistance. I had this idea for this piece of artwork that I wanted to make, and I could not get in the studio to create it. I have a workshop. It's kind of like a studio, kind of like a workshop. I do woodworking as well. So I have a lot of facets that help me not stay stuck in the ability to only create one kind of art. I can create multiple pieces of art, but with all that availability, still I couldn't get in the workshop, couldn't get anything done. And I was dealing with this resistance, right? And the divine masculine, the divine feminine, the balance of both, trying to understand when is it okay that I relax and I don't push myself to go create? When is the time to take that divine masculine action and just throw shit against the wall and try to make it work? And my coach was helping me through this situation I was going through. And what happened was I started taking action with resistance. I read 2 books, The War of Art, that I still listen to this day. I've been listening to an audiobook for about 2 months now. I go to sleep listening to it. I just absorb it. And also Turning Pro, both books by Steven Pressfield, talks greatly about the artist's life, the lifestyle. So with all this, I'm creating these things. Somewhere around that time, I was talking to Tahsha about how I wanted to visit her And I was saying that, yeah, we got some housewarming gifts, and I had it set in my mind, right, that I'm going to whip up this piece of artwork, and fine, I'll just whip it up. And couldn't be further.
Which is funny since your theme was resistance, right, in your life. So yeah, it's no resistance to that. I'll just whip something up, right?
I'll just whip something up. While I'm talking to my coach, while I don't even know who I am, because she had me go through what's called a deconstruction phase, ladies and gentlemen. And that's where you don't know if you're more divine masculine, divine feminine, an artist, a woodworker, a painter, a voice. You don't know what you are. You're in no man's land. And it was important for me to go through this deconstruction process to understand what's there when there's nothing there. Imagine this, like, you don't know what's there because you are responsible for everything you put in there. All the survival techniques you use to survive your parents and your upbringing and any kind of abuse that you experience, that's integrated in your personality. Anything that you got praised for, that wasn't necessarily that you did, your looks, but you didn't do anything there's no effort behind it, that gets integrated into personality. So that was just an example, but what I'm basically saying is I went through this phase. Somewhere in that time, I was talking to Tahsha and I told her about housewarming gifts, and then that kicked on. And then but the important thing is that this project was integrated in that process. So this piece of artwork that Tahsha has all of me in it, all of my divine process in it. And I didn't even think about that. This is the first piece of art that I can honestly say I have an emotional attachment with while I was creating it. And I could not understand for the life of me, how do you become emotional or translate emotions through artwork? I could not understand that, because for me, artwork is simple. Just make something that looks cool, abstract-y, and might not look like anything else that's out there. Just do that. And that's all I've ever done, is always try to make something that people want to look at. I've never involved myself in the process. It's the first time that I've involved myself in my own artistic process. I've been so disassociated from my work because all I really knew or all I cared about is what other people cared about. I didn't care about what I cared about, because what I cared about probably wouldn't sell. People wouldn't like all these other things. And that was the beliefs. Yeah, limiting beliefs. That's the resistance I was fighting. So every day when I want everyone to hear this, every day that I was working on this project and I had this part come up, or this voice, I just call it the voice. That's my voice talking to me, telling me, you didn't get that right. You got to go buy this thing that's used for tile cutting, to cut tiles, in order to make this design. And it's $78. You are nowhere close to figuring it out. Why don't you use your tools, bro, and make something out of wood? Why don't you hire someone? Don't spend $78. And in all reality, I have more than $78 to spend on this. But I'm afraid. I'm in lack mentality, time. Tahsha's going to be upset that she doesn't know, like, just unreasonable.
Total
and all
imposter
these voices,
syndrome, massive, which is what all entrepreneurs, when you're doing anything on your own, is a thing. I just love you're talking about this, because it pertains to fucking everything. Yeah, it's
everything. Everything is, there's not one thing that it's so encompassing, this whole journey that I went on. But those voices are in my head, and they were saying, all those things, right? And I was going through this every day while I'm reading the book. The Steven Pressfield is telling you, when you read this book or listen to it, he's telling you, you wake up with resistance. You're going to have resistance. You're going to have resistance. I was in my mind. I was not in my mind. I was just kind of like with myself for a moment, where I didn't have the voice. I don't know what it was, but I was with myself, and there was this vision of me on a sailboat, right? And there's a me, the future me. There's a future Tahsha, there's a future, higher self, whatever, that gets to where we visually want to go. Even if it's not visually, it's more like feeling state. You can feel this being that's far away.
It's a vibration.
They are you. It's a vibration. They are you. and they are telling you from this island, it's here, over here, like, just come here, don't worry about the car, don't worry, come here. And you're like, huh, I'm on a boat. you know like you know you're just like on a sailboat, and you can see only them. You don't know if it's an island or not. And then you have another part with you, and the other part with you is the part that every time a wave hits the boat, your part is almost autistic in a way, which is so beautiful because it's a whole nother spectrum. They don't have a lot of emotional attachment to what's going on, but they're just kind of neurotically telling you, oh, there's a wave that came by. Oh, there's a rogue wave that could be out there. Oh, we're 6 degrees south, 42 degrees west, or just, very
logical shit your brain's doing. Yep.
Yeah. And you are feeling that part. You're feeling the hope of that part over there. You're feeling the sail, and you can feel the waves too. Yep. But you're kind of the top down controlling things. You can't get rid of this part.
Nope.
So what I thought about, I was like, wow, sailboat. Okay, super far away from the future part. What if I didn't have this part with me? The voice. I would be alone. Like, actually.
It's almost
alone.
like your ego too, you're referring to, which is interesting. It's almost like the
ego.
Yeah. Because we can't get rid of the ego. People think we can get rid of the ego, and we can't. And It is that thing that almost keeps us like humanly grounded, like in this space. Humanly grounded. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I started looking at my resistance as, I can't see it as necessary if I'm human, but if I step out and I think about the actually being alone, and the book I'm reading, of course, was saying these about this too, not being alone, because even the parts of you that sound like they're doing whatever they can to deter you, they're not the most informed. My part that's semi-autistic or whatever, he doesn't necessarily know we are going to be okay. And he doesn't know that not every wave, but he loves me. He wants to inform me. He wants me to survive. That's the only way he knows how to.
Total ego. That's exactly how ego is described. Yeah, it's your ego. Right. Yeah, it's doing what it's doing whatever it can from its own level of understanding. It's only at the space of its own level of understanding. So this is all just because it's just funny, because you're an artist, but I'm an entrepreneur. You're basically wife, Julia Phoenix. Follow Julia Phoenix and follow Antoine. Follow them both. They're amazing. It's the same shit. It's the same thing. It's the same limitations. It's our mind the brain is always constantly trying to find the problem to fix. Always. So when they see the hope thing, then you think it's not allowed to just see it as like, oh, let's go do that. It's like, oh, but there's this problem and their problem, and how do we get there? Right. And there's sharks over there, and what if we fall in and we don't have any life? Like, who's gonna save us? Like, it's all these fucking things. So it is beautiful that you have gotten to this place where you're kind of like, I hear you. It's a witness space. Again, it's kind of like the non-attachment to outcome we talk about, right? Is like there's that witness space of like, oh, I see you, and you can be there. And I understand what you're doing, but I'm still steering the motherfucking boat. So keep chatting away, but I'm still steering.
Right. So Tahsha's approach to that is, I'm not attached to the outcome, which is a very non-dismissal way. Because what you guys all need to be aware of through this process of creating this piece of artwork that Tahsha has, I had battles in my mind, but it ended up with me exhausted, tired, depressed, because I'm fighting me. So Tahsha's non-attachment outcome is a very almost gentle way, very diplomatic way between her, who's running the show in this 3D realm, and parts and aspects of her that are still in survival. It's going to take a lot of time for anyone to actually metaphysically, emotionally, energetically come out of survival. If you really want to get deep on it, and this is a good thing, we don't have a lot of time on this planet as humans not being in survival mode. We have more time in this planet, on our genealogy and our whole history of being human, being in survival mode. Yep. Humans don't really know what the fuck to do with freedom.
No, because we're attached to suffering. That's another thing that I've been really instilling in myself, is like non-attachment to suffering, because we think that that's the human way. And we think that by looking at our past and saying, we've done nothing but suffering. It's the thing we're good at. It's the thing we're used to. It's the thing that feels like home for a lot of us. that trauma of survival mode feels like love. It was the only real thing of love that we understood, which is, you know, connection and time spent, and the time spent was in trauma, and it's a big deal.
And because of we are more used to being in tribes. In tribes, guess what? You don't need to figure out your fucking life. It's easy. You're a hunter, you're a gatherer. You don't want to do that. Maybe you skin, maybe you make tools, maybe you make weapons. It's actually more, you know, fixed. And that has been more of our geology or whatever you want to call it, our species. Yeah, our species than anything else, than having freedom. So this freedom thing, this advent of being able to decide for oneself is still fairly new. We are, and the society judges us for feeling like we're going crazy or developing symptoms of being bored all the time or ADHD and all this extra shit, when actually it's just, hey man, you don't really know how to be, you know, truly free. Like you have
to teach yourself to fucking be comfortable with it, because it feels uncomfortable.
Right. Yes. Right. And that's why, as Tahsha was saying, suffering together. That's why people choose that shit. Yep. So anyways, yeah. So I got my parts on board, and I started working at it every day. And I said, no matter how it goes, no matter what goes on, I'm going to just push through, even if I make mistakes. And I couldn't even tell what the mistakes were, because I was trying to do something I've never done. I was trying to create something I never created. So I was going through these pathways and trying to figure out, like, is the pathway this way, the pathway that way, just like being on the boat. And I was thinking about Tahsha, and I was thinking about, I don't know, just like different ways that her life could have gone, and how high the risks were in comparison to what she chose. Like, she chose a different way, but if she hadn't have chose a different way, it's not like, oh, I might have got that other job. Like, no, if she hadn't have chose that, the downside is like a steep downside. But she kept elevating and elevating. She didn't even know it, you know. So I had this idea of these circles and these bins and all this other stuff, and yeah, I just worked on it for 3 months. I really took my time. I was gentle with myself. I had to go through the whole thing. Like, I don't know, what if she doesn't like it? What if she has no room? What if by the time I get there, like, she has no room on the walls? I've literally had that. I've tried to give a piece of art to my friend, and they were like, yeah, I'm just afraid I don't have any space. Yeah. Yeah. And I was just like, all right, yeah, sure. So I went through all these things, but still, because I was like, still I could sell it, still I could whatever, or not sell it. It doesn't matter. Like, I just want to see. Then it came in when I started exhausting myself of all the waves in the water, right? With my semi-autistic self, and I started being him in a sense. I started realizing, wait a fucking second. There's a process here. When I go to sleep, I'm thinking about the next thing to try to get this to look a certain way on my piece of art. When I wake up, I'm thinking about working on it. When I go to sleep the next day, if I don't work on it, I'm like not myself. Like, I'm crabby, I'm funky. And I started putting two and two together. I was like, oh my fucking God. I am connected to my process of creating art emotionally. Like, irrefutable. I used to think that was foo-foo shit, because I'm just over here trying to make things that are like, oh, it's crazy. But now that I'm emotionally attached, I'm like, Jesus, this must be, and then this flood of divine, like, divine feminine awareness came over me of this flow. And I was like, that's the fucking flow. I'm in resistance. I'm still working on it. I feel like I'm doing my work. It gives me energy. Also hate it sometimes. That's resistance.
Like we all do.
It's all the same. It's all flow.
You get to hold the different paradigms. I talk about this about holding different paradigms. It's like you get to see the person on the boat talking the things, your ego, right? You get to see the hope, and then you get to be you in the process of trying to, like, maneuver it all and then still continue forward, even though you see all these things. That is in flow. That is in alignment. That's you co-creating it. It's magic. It's fucking amazing.
I had no idea, guys, that you do stuff, work, whatever you feel like you're supposed to do. Even if you know, you can feel on the inside, 2% of me feels like I'm supposed to do this. Doesn't matter. you don't wait until you feel better to do that. You do that while everything else is going on. That's how you do it. You don't wish for resistance to go away.
Yeah.
You don't pray it away. It's you're resisting yourself. So it's very important for all of you to know that.
There's self-sabotage in there, and there is messy action. In the entrepreneur world, we call it messy action with you, again, being, basically married to an entrepreneur in the coaching industry. This is what we do. We have that feeling of like, I know I'm supposed to do this. This is scary. This could happen. This could happen. This could happen. But your center is so strong in that feeling of, but I'm supposed to do this. I'm being told to do this, that you just fucking show up. I mean, literally today, to be honest, you guys, Antoine, have you done a video like this before?
Absolutely not.
Okay. And Antoine's told me that he's been kind of like, I just don't know. Like, and this was new. I really gave him the idea. You were at that space about a month ago, if not maybe a little over a month ago. You were in a space where you're like, I'm not really ready to do that yet. And so when I was going to go live about this yesterday on my own, I was going to show the piece of artwork and I was going to whatever. And I just wasn't connected to it. And I was like, there's always a reason for that. So then I wake up this morning and I'm like, oh, I'm going to see if Antoine wants to go live with me and he can explain his process and like talk about what he does, because he's so special. I'm telling you guys, Antoine's going to go fucking places. His pieces are going to be thousands and thousands of dollars. Like I literally can see this piece going for $100,000 in the art world. This most definitely, the process, the time it took, what it stands for, the energy behind it. This is an extremely massive, and you guys know how I talk about men. This is one of the most high frequency, divine, fucking masculine men I've ever met in my entire life. And I just feel like even his artwork, you can feel that from him. And as a woman, honestly, who hasn't had a lot of support in that area, I feel like this piece in my bedroom, literally I feel divine masculine support coming from it.
It's gonna uplift the whole thing.
Yes, and I love how when I touch it, it is this, and I'm gonna show you guys here in a minute, so we're just gonna stop talking about it. It's this material that is really like texture. It's texturized basically. And when I show it, I want you to talk about, because you and I talked about also like this specific color, right? The color and the actual quality of it, or the actual texture of it, the actual product is something different. That's not what normal like people are using. Isn't that what you said?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a 3-part mix of my own mix. And they'll see it. Before we show that, one last thing I want to say is that what I realized with the resistance I was feeling and taking action, I realized that I thought I had to be in a certain place to take action and create this piece of art. Like every day I'm supposed to get this amount done in this way, and letting go and allowing my semi-autistic self, myself, my future self be all there at once, the resistance, the voice, all that stuff. While I took action, I realized these are the different aspects that are going to make me feel not good, or what I consider not good.
Not good enough. Yeah.
Time tells that women in general are men's access points for emotional attunement. Most of the time, generally, I mean, I haven't found enough men that I've come across that has like been without, a woman pushing him to get closer to his emotional body. It just doesn't happen. Right. So because of that, I kind of deemed it as, these are the emotions that I feel, and this would be this chaotic nature in a very beautiful way. This dance that they're playing is very much my divine feminine process. Sometimes I don't feel good about what I'm doing. Can I hold that? Yeah. Sometimes I feel like I'm actually losing it. Like I'm going to create something and it's just Corey Feldman bad. You know what I mean? And and then no one's going to tell me, and I'm just, but those are the conversations that go on in my head, and the feeling states are okay to have, because that's technically what the divine feminine is a lot more. I'm not one to speak on it, but one of it is radical acceptance for the chaotic nature, for all emotions. Mm-hmm. And what I realized is me taking action is the masculine container to hold my process on the inside of what's going on. So now, backed up with the divine feminine inside of me, allowing the voices and buy this product, take action, take messy action, compounded with the masculine actually taking action in this realm, translating to this realm. I'm fully I'm more supported than I thought I was. The things to look for. I want people to notice me. I want people to look out. I want people to recognize my art. Ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing out there that will do anything for you when it comes to what you can do for yourself, when it comes to how you feel about yourself. And if you really want to get there, deconstruction, identity death, some kind of process. Yes. Tahsha knows, she's been through ego deaths. I don't know how many, but yeah, so that's pretty much the process. And that's just the last thing I wanted to say.
So fucking beautiful. Before we look at it, I want to look at there's actually a lot of people that are commenting. Hi, Alyssa. Hi, Sabine.
I can't see the
like,
comments.
Love that. Yes, ego. Alyssa's like, ego is logic? Question mark. Well, I mean, ego's not logical, I would say, but I think ego is the thing that's trying to protect you into trying to solve the problem. The ego's trying to always solve the problem. And ego's like multiple different types of things. So logical, yeah. It's interesting because I feel like the ego does try to keep you grounded in some aspects. It tries to like
the ego will be whatever it needs to be
to survive. To survive, right? And I think that's what your brain's doing also. So I think that's where I got the whole like it's logical type thing. Both are fire, yes, for sure. I always say that now. I am not attached to the outcome. Yes, it will change fucking everything for you, I promise. Sabine's like, it's a good one. Sabine helped a lot with not coming home in remission. I was attached to doing it in the 12 weeks, and when I didn't, it set me up for suffering. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep. Sabine said, yeah, I said after doing so well and then not destroyed me. Hi, Shannon. So it can be fear-based. What can be fear-based? Your ego? Oh, your ego is most definitely fear-based. That's literally what ego literally says. What's the least amount of
pain that I can go
through? The least resistance in the way of the fastest way out. It's not even looking at like what could be the best. It's just like the fastest way out to not like have to deal with this or feel this. So
instant gratification.
Most definitely. Phyllis is like, yes. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys now with the piece of artwork. I'm so fucking excited. And I think it's in a good place because the sun's like the light's hitting it. So I'm just going
to
this so I can turn it. And I really wanted to do this on my phone so I could actually take my phone over there and show, but it's not going to work. Wait, hold on. Can I turn this? Is it not going to turn? Okay, so this is the piece. I want my phone. It would be so much better.
It's okay. Well, Tahsha, I'm gonna give you high def pictures and video so that you can post it later.
Yeah, we'd love that. Okay, so yeah, I'm in my shorts. I don't look sexy.
Who wears shorts?
I'm like, put those down, girl. You're gonna get banned on fucking Facebook. Okay, so even like I think even on film, it looks it's huge, you guys. It is so big.
Yeah.
It is so beautiful. Okay, so when he first showed this to me, I was like really super emotional about it. I was just like, oh my God, what? That's my piece. What? And then he happened to mention that like it was about pathways. I'm gonna bring it up closer so you guys can see the actual texture on it, because this is like, it's like almost like laying on the acupuncture mat. Like it's like hella fucking textured. Okay. Anyways, when he said it was pathways, I started to like cry. I'd already was getting teary-eyed and shed a couple of tears, but then I like almost couldn't hold back. Because this did represent like all the pathways like of my life, it felt like, and all the circles of completion, and like even like the big circles of completion that aren't completely like, so they aren't completed yet. There's half circles everywhere in my opinion, right? This is like a half circle. And it just felt so symbolic. I was like, holy fucking crap. Like how did that just get translated into like my actual fucking life? Like how did that just happen? So yeah, and these are all like gold foils. I have no idea. When you did this, are the strands of gold foil, are they just like lined and then you had to like move them? Because they're also like straight.
That is not how you do that. That is that's why it took 3 months. you can't take that texture and just make parts in it and then put gold foil. You can't get clean lines like that. You have to do gold foil before you layer on your mixture.
So the foil had to go first and then this had to go around it basically?
But yes, you had to put the right kind of tape because the adhesive was the tape blocks the material because you do the black material goes over the whole thing.
Okay, so you do this part first, and then you put tape, kind of like when you're painting something, right? So you put tape over it. So when you pour this on here, and then what? So then I'm confused on like, does it automatically make the grooves where it's like? So I picture it would just cover everything. Like how do
you gotta use a special X-Acto knife in order to get the tape to be cut that cleanly. Otherwise, if you cut it by hand, it won't come out as clean. You'll have wider lines, skinnier lines. It's very technical. Yeah.
Okay, so before I show you that, I really wanted to also read you guys. I don't know if you guys.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So obviously it's upside down and backwards. Of course it is.
It's okay.
He signed it, and then the poem says, "May your neighbors respect you, trouble neglect you, angels protect you, and heaven accept you." And then it's called V1. Can you explain why it's called V1?
It's called V1 because this actually is going to be a series. It's the first time I've decided to do smaller versions of a piece of artwork. Otherwise, I was really judgmental on people that didn't want to buy the big pieces of art. So V1 is going to be V2, there's going to be V3, there's going to be probably about 5 masters. Unfortunately, Tahsha will be the only one to have V1 out of the 5. There'll be 5 of them, and then there'll be miniatures for sale as well. But V1 also, because Tahsha, like I haven't known her a lot, but the way that she tells her stories about how she came about to where she is currently literally sounds like version 1, right? Am I right? She remakes herself. And she tells you the completely different person she was in great detail. So I just love that. And as soon as I was, there's fancy names, right? I could call it Excalibur. I could call it fucking, triathlon or some shit. But I said, once I felt V1 and I was thinking about Tahsha and her journey and how she's always going to version 1 because she breaks things down, guys. When she decides to move on something, she'll drop it and she will move it and she will restart. So it just was perfect. V1. Yeah.
Yes. And I still want, when you do a gallery, I'm telling you, I'm picking it up psychically is why I keep saying this. When you do a gallery, they're going to want to see this. They're going to want to see the whole thing. And people who do own artwork will sometimes bring in their pieces and say, oh, that one's not for sale, but you can have, V2 and V3 or whatever.
Right.
When you're ready for that. So yeah, I wanted you guys to see and you can see how my hand's moving. Like, look how it's like catching my hands because can you hear it?
Yeah.
Like it's like so textured. And I was trying to turn it sideways so you can kind of see, like you can see the grooves. How it's like sitting out here. You can see how so this is and it's heavy. It's amazing. It's so beautiful. And I'm obsessed with gold lately, like obsessed. Which is weird. I'm silver girl. I really like silver.
Next it's just gonna be Tahsha. Next is just gonna be Tahsha, not with gold pieces on her face, but a gold face with missing pieces.
That's fucking awesome.
She's gonna be like, I'm here to facilitate.
Right? Almost operating from a sympathetic state of fight or flight. Yes, girl. Yes. Isn't it stunning? Isn't it fucking magnificent? Sabine's like, wow, I love it. Sabine's like, how much will they be? So this is another state that Antoine's in of trying to decide money.
Thank you for just saying that. You're right, Tahsha. Yes.
You know what? I would love to hear you kind of talk a little bit about the money aspect because, again, as an entrepreneur, when we set our prices, I think we all go through this. I love how this is like, I did not expect this conversation to be about divine masculine and feminine and resistance and all this spiritual fucking shit. I'm going to have to change the title. Obviously, when I'm done, I have to change the title. It's on Facebook to explain this because this is a badass conversation. So if you have time and you want to, I know you guys are like,
I got time.
Okay.
I got time.
let's talk about the money side of it, because I think that a lot of people can relate to this portion of it, of setting prices and where you are in like, when you and I, there's another thing that I love too, is the fact that you and I were having deep conversations about all the processes you've been talking about while you were making a piece of artwork for me. And so I feel, again, like this, what you made was your and my energy together in some aspects. And that just feels so much more fucking important and amazing and fucking divine. I love that. So I would love to hear how you were just kind of like, I don't want to charge, weren't you in a place where you're like, I don't want to charge money, or like, I don't want to have to like put a money, like a money, like a dollar sign to it, or like, I would just love to hear you talk about that part.
Yeah. I went through multiple stages, guys. Those pieces of art are, I used to say, I still have, I have a belief that they're $5,000, no less, like absolutely no less, you know? Have I ever received $5,000 for anything at one time? No. Have I ever accepted $5,000 or received $5,000 for something that I created alone, from something to nothing? No, I've never done that. Very important.
$5,000 though.
Have I ever charged $5,000? Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, it'll be on the website or something, but I've never had the opportunity for someone to ask and say, how much. I say 5,000, they say, let me think about it. Or they say, yeah, sure, no problem. You know what I mean? I've never been in that scenario. And that's another process, guys, of being on the sailboat and seeing myself on
shore, happy and shit. Yeah.
On shore, happy and shit. Yeah. So you got to understand, the process that I am is very, very important process for entrepreneur, artists, anyone with a creative spirit that doesn't want to work a 9-to-5. Every single one of you is going to go through the process that I'm going through. This is the hero's journey. This is a hero's journey. This is resistance journey, like resisting the norm. This is what you all are going to go through.
Money is definitely a big part of that. Yes.
Yeah. And what I mean by that is, you know, the thought of making money from it crippled me. Before I started my process, before I started working with my coach, it crippled me. It was depression, but it was a weird type of depression where I knew why I didn't want to do stuff. What's the point in doing things if I can't guarantee that I'm actually going to make it, or I'm actually going to sell this piece of art? That's the type of depression I was in. It's very important because everyone's going to go through this, like I said.
Especially healers, right? Because healers are like, why would I give my stuff away for free? It's a healing thing. It should heal everybody. Everybody should have access to it. So same thing there for those that are watching.
Exactly. And when people talk about falling in love with your craft, you should do it just because you love it. It'll be a lot easier. Find your flow. You can say that all you want. It's the same thing as recovering from an accident at the hospital. You don't just fucking get up and walk. That's how I felt emotionally and on the inside. I was learning how to walk in and got into a serious accident. Learning to find a way to do what you love in a way that you don't feel like you have to make money from it is the way you make money from it.
It's having non-attachment to the outcome of the money, really. It's just kind of like you realizing that the dollar amount you're putting on there is what your soul's like, okay, that feels like an energy exchange. A lot of ways to do this, by the way, is to also put it at a dollar where you're like, say you want to charge $100,000 for like a coaching program or art or whatever. And you're like, okay, I can't connect to that. That feels way too big. So then go something really small, like, okay, how about $20? Okay, that doesn't feel fucking right at all. And you keep doing it until your soul's like feels a little bit stretched, but it feels like, okay, yeah, that feels reasonable to me. That sounds like, so it's a way to do it.
Yeah. And then Tahsha said something the other day when we were going down her stairs. She was saying, I need to write it down. You were saying, how did you say to tell yourself what you're reasonable to charge? I think you said whatever is available out there for me.
the money to receive money. Because Julia and Antoine both said in my bedroom, they were like, trying to decide what dollar amount to like focus on. And Julie was like, yeah, because if you focus on that amount and then you don't get it, now you're like disappointed in yourself. You feel like you're not worthy all over again. And you're like, but I wanted that and I felt that. And why didn't I get it? And so I said, instead to say, I am available for all of the money that the universe, my guides, whoever you fucking believe in, okay? I say God and Jesus. The God and Jesus and the universe want to give me, because they want
to give me. Perfect.
to give you all of it. And I'm open to, I am available to receive that. I allow myself to receive that. And you, and that's the way you do it. Yeah.
Right. And that's more of like, let's say you guys have a range, but you're stretched, right? Somebody says, I can do, I don't know if I could do 2,000, but I really want to work with you. And they feel like they're going to be a long-term client or something like that. Or even better, a client that gets you other clients and you could just feel it, is you can feel that and trust that. They might say 1,800, 1,500.
Yeah.
Just because I can't, and I'll give you, and then you might take a chance on that because you've been listening to Tahsha and you've internalized that, whatever they want to give me, the universe and stuff, and then they give it to you. So like that. So yeah, with my own personal journey, this is all a big deal for me, because my coach was also telling me, this is going to blow your guys' mind. You guys don't know mine and Julia's actual relationship. Tahsha knows about it a little bit more, but the way I treat Julia and the way we are together, you know, I treat her like she's like the next element out of the earth that's not gold, but more valuable. You know what I mean? That we haven't discovered yet.
This is truth. I've witnessed this. It's very beautiful to watch. It's very genuine.
Oh, thank you. But I do. I have there's no thought, there's no question, there's no second guess. That blind trust that I have, it's almost like if I was on a sailboat and somebody told me like, you're going to take care of this to Julia. You're going to make sure Julia's okay. You, Antoine, you're going to make sure she's okay. There's no thought process in that. I would be already there on the island when it comes to that scenario for Julia. My coach was telling me, you have an income system already. You have an income system already. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean feel that way about something that way. It means it has to come naturally. The way you feel about Julia has to be the same way. Love, support, and authenticity. Mm-hmm. So with that and the pricing, first I need to experience that in another way. Love, support, authenticity. And this technically was that with Tahsha. I didn't know what was going to come of it, but I love Tahsha. I support Tahsha, and there's an authentic nature that will never be replicated. There's nothing too fake. She is a human at its core, feeling, living, breathing, not trying to act like she's living and breathing. And so that's what attracted me to give this to her in the first place, and accepting for who she is, just celebrating who she is. And then of course we got closer and started talking and everything, but that's how it works. It's like, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work by me trying to force someone to look at my art, or because that desperate nature, and I haven't fulfilled that value in myself or nothing. She decided she wanted to talk about my art. When she talked about my art, guys, she talked about it in detail. She wanted to know. She just wanted to talk about it. And that's how I knew like she was a person that, would benefit from having my piece of artwork, because she talks about it even when I wasn't working on that piece of artwork. So with the pricing thing, I'm still, I'm like you guys, I'm still like trepidatious. I'm not sure what the right price is, but I'm going to do Tahsha's method and get close to what I think is fair, or not fair. I should never say that. What I think I deserve. And
nice reframe.
Right. Reframe. And then from that point, I'm going to not focus on who's buying or how much I'm charging. Is it too much? I'm just going to say it in confidence. And then I'm going to continue working on the artwork with love, support, and authenticity, because the point is that when you get to a place where you understand and feel the resistance you're going to have, and you take action anyways, and that becomes your flow, then you start to realize how mentally and like ethereally and emotionally you're dependent on it, because we're all here to do a certain type of work. Yep. We're here to be humans, and that involves a certain type of work, not working for a job, or it's a personal work, like an activity, and it doesn't even involve getting paid. it's a ritual.
Yeah.
It's a everyday human thing. That's why, you know, when we go to sleep, we wake up, it's like, oh, it's another day. It's really not another day, but to us, it's another day. You know what I mean? So that's why we have these rituals that go along with the cycle of the sun and the moon. And, you know, even if you work at night, if you do your ritual at night and you sleep all day, that's up to you, but you still have a ritual, you know? So.
Yeah, when was the last time you guys heard a man talk like this? I mean, we have all the women on my page, and the women that are watching are fucking awesome and amazing. I wish Aaron was watching this actually, because he's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't, what is, money. Oh, Julie is on. I said hi to Julie. She's like, well, it's my two favorite people in the entire universe. I love you, Julie. Follow Julie, everybody. Follow Antoine, please. I struggle with pricing with anything I do. Always second guess it. Lissa, I don't want to overprice and not deliver. Interesting one. So first of all, I want to remind everyone, this is something that I just recently, I haven't even announced it on Facebook yet, that Jacqueline and I are planning on doing another 2-month program, and it's going to be probably in July, and the pricing is now going up to $10,000 a person. Because the program's a $30,000 program, to be honest. I've said it a million times. I've had 6-7 figure coaches who coach high ticket women who are like, your pricing's where? I literally thought it was a $30,000 program. And I'm like, fuck. So we're stretching ourselves too. But the thing is, it's like the dollar amount doesn't fucking matter. It does not fucking matter. It's what you've attached to that dollar amount that is going to shift and change everything. And if
what are you making it mean?
Right. So like, for instance, Jacqueline and I are like, wow, we're going to only be doing this program twice a year. So for us, we need to charge $10,000, because how the fuck are we going to have enough time and space in between to take time off, to get our energy back, and then still be able to pay our bills and pay the team that we're going to hire and do all the fucking things we want to fucking do. So there is an energy to money, but it's what you're attaching to it. It's the thing you're attaching. And if you have non-attachment to outcome to the dollar amount, and it's literally just to be like, that's what feels in my soul, like I can connect with that. Because if you're just saying, oh, well, if it's just a dollar amount, then I'll put it at $100,000. But if that's not believable, because there is some sort of energy that's going to be attached to that in some aspect in your belief system of what it is that's coming. So again, Alyssa, I would tell you, very much so, to do the thing where you're like, oh, $100 doesn't feel like enough for me, so I'm going to do 150, 125. Like, find out in your place where it's at. And even if it's super low, like I did stuff that was pay what you can afford, donation based. And at one point I was like, fuck, I cannot stand the level of energetics that's coming with the people who are doing that. They didn't show up to do their work. They would blame me for things. They wanted me to hold them the whole time. And it just was this, it just did not work, right?
Yeah. So
how you combat this also with high pricing, and Antoine, I don't know if you thought about this, maybe you have, is that for a piece this large, do you see me standing next to it? I'm 5'7". Okay, that motherfucker is literally almost as tall as I am. It is huge. Right. It took 3 months. This is a $5,000 piece. I said it could go for, in the art world, this could go for $100,000 easily.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
So $5,000 is very generous for something like this. Antoine and anybody else, when you're doing work, to balance it out is to say, if somebody says, oh, well, I could never afford, $10,000 for your program, Tahsha. Wow, Antoine, that's beautiful. It's speaking to me, but I can't afford $5,000. You need to have things at different levels.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why for the first time.
Yeah. Do you have other artwork, Antoine, that you're doing or that's on your website that's in the $500 range, or whatever the fuck it is that you want to put it at, that's less than $5,000, $800 range, whatever. So that there's different things you're offering. Jacqueline and I are doing the in-person 3-day fucking event that's only $777 or $333 for the 1-day event that's also on the 16th. So have different things, available for those, because you don't want to exclude people from being able to get the healing work that you're doing, because this piece is not just a piece of artwork. Now that emotion has gone into it, now that for most part, all artists are emotionally attached to their artwork. It's how usually the big artists, something amazing comes from it, because it's not just logical ego based of paint a line this way and go this way. People do make money from that. There are artists who have a dot on a thing and it goes for fucking $1 million. It's stupid. Not stupid. I shouldn't say stupid. It's insane. It's fucking
it's
whoa.
insane.
But again, those things are also the conviction of the artist of what that is what people are fucking paying for, that they're not even trying to do. It's like, I know that's going to sell. That's what my soul told me to fucking put on that piece of canvas. That's what it fucking is. Here's my pricing. I'm not fucking budging on it. And maybe it sits there for a month. Maybe it sits there for fucking 2 years. Somebody pays that money at some point and guarantee it. So I love the money conversation always, because it does reflect the dollar amount reflects what we think about ourselves. Yeah. It's a reflection of that.
You make it mean whatever you want. And for me, what it meant was, I'm not a real artist. For me, if I don't charge, my artwork, it hits multiple points. Everything I chose on the piece of art that Tahsha has is aimed for.
I want to show it again.
There's elegance, there's beauty. Think of, Rome, think of even Egypt, think of Stargate, for crying out loud, the movie Stargate. So and think of ethereal too. Like it's all aimed for that. But this is me stretching myself. The reason it took 3 months is because I had to actually teach myself. I got to a certain point where there were no more YouTube videos to watch. There were no YouTube videos to watch on processes on different parts of the piece of art that I was making. So this is a stretch. And see, what I finally realized was, guys, this big piece of artwork, or for example, your big program that's a year long, your course that you write for that program, that's your magnus opus, right? You have the right to your fruits. You have the right to your labor, but not the fruits of your labor. That means that's from a quote from somebody else. But what that basically means is that the journey of creating something is what the artist gets. The process, what the artist or the person learns that goes through. This is the first time I've actually had a process, like an emotional. Thanks for doing that, Tahsha. Yeah. I have had an emotional, cathartic change, transformation system. Granted, I had a coach. Didn't do it to myself, but I was going through something, guys, while I was making this and going through something while I'm not making it. Took breaks, didn't take breaks, frustrated, telling Julia, not telling Julia, like everything was all a part of this process. Yeah. And I realized, like, I looked back objectively and I was like, God damn it, that was for me. I could have stopped at any time. But yeah, at a certain point, the art was creating me. Yeah. My God, my coach had to tell me that, because I was going to this point and she was like, isn't it almost like, as the process of you creating this art and there's so much change and you feel so out of control and you don't know how to do the next step and you couldn't figure out the first step and you made mistakes and you have 2 other boards that got messed up while you're doing it and you didn't get the mixture right and you had to buy 7 more tubs, all this. Yeah. Doesn't it feel like it's making you, the process of this? And I was like, wow, that's just, I don't know what to say. Like, because it was that profound, because somebody can say that to you guys, right? I could say that, Tahsha could say that. And you guys could get off the live and say, how can I go find a way for the thing to make me? Until you open yourself up, be vulnerable, stop trying to find a way to find fault in coaches or your own self-talk or books, self-help. It's not all necessary, but be just a little bit more open. You're not gonna be able to feel cathartically, emotionally in your body, somatically too, what these words actually mean. Now, granted, I was going through it emotionally, somatically before my coach said that. Yeah. But goddamn, did it not tie all together? And then this flood of allowing of what I was going through. This flood came over like it's going the way it's supposed to go, because that's the way it's going. This is less resistance right here. Surrender. This whole thing.
Surrender Divine is feminine. The opposite of resistance. Yep. And which is also another word for non-attachment to outcome. So yeah, when you look at something and you say, I'm not attached to the outcome of this. I'm frustrated because I have to go get 7 more tubes of shit. I'm not attached to the outcome of that. I know I have to do it, so I'm fucking going.
Right.
Like it's like this, it frees up, right? It gives you this freedom. So not only that, but now when you look at the artwork not only has texture in the sense of like physical texture, now it has emotional and fucking spiritual and energetic fucking like texture, which is like insane. It just added up a whole nother value for the person, like in their energetic body, how it's reacting to them, as well as money, as well as an energetic like value that went into this, because there's so much that went into it where you could have fucking given up. You could have fucking walked away. This is an example of what happens when you don't do that. When you stay in that space of like, I know what my truth is about this piece of work, about this program I'm offering, about this fucking thing that I'm creating and doing. I know what my truth is and I'm going to stick to that no matter what. Now it becomes something bigger. Now it becomes something that everybody gets to benefit from because of your ability to not give up.
Yeah. And now I understand the acceptance of doing smaller pieces and selling them for less money. Cause I was attached, guys. And I know you guys understand it's attached to what we make it mean. Yeah. If I don't sell $10,000, my coach Tahsha is going to look at me like I'm not doing good, or, you know, this person, or I didn't hold up to my goal.
Yeah.
What does that say about me? Right. And it's like, bro, ain't nobody worried about what you're doing. People have their own lives, like actually worried about their own lives. You know what I mean? Like no one's going to judge you that way. And it's this mindset that we have. And what I realized was when I got what I felt like I needed, which is way more valuable than any monetary gain, the process of going through what I made for Tahsha is my future. That process is my next process. And the process after that, I have a way now to navigate. You can't put a price on that.
No.
So that's what I got from that experience. But since I don't have to sell, I'm not worried about selling that for $5,000 or $2,000. It's Tahsha's now. Now I'm like, oh, I could do smaller pieces. And, you know, so yes, the answer is yes. There will be smaller obtainable pieces that are just like that. That I'll be selling, that'll be on my website available after I create them, and I'll do the notices.
What is your website for those that are watching right now?
My website is
it ready to give? Do you want to give it? Or do you want to wait?
Yeah, no, it's ready to give. People can sign up like right now just to be notified faster. Okay. But to be honest with you, it's abstractartistbdyk.com, just the way it's spelled.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to put it in the chat. Abstract artist. And then what do you say?
BDYK.com. And there's nothing on there because I have reset my entire website so that I can get ready for my next pieces of art.
BDYK.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
The pricing was all wrong before I made this piece of art. The message was not me, you know, not what I was trying to portray. So the website got revamped, and it'll be up soon. There's a sign up right here, so I can get your email and send you out the first editions, so that you guys can know. But my website, there's nothing on my website but a sign up. Okay, so when you go there, all you're gonna see is
this shit. Yeah, which is fine.
That's because after this process. Yeah.
Not a problem. What's your Instagram? Do we have Instagram?
Yeah. Instagram is going to be, and I'm having to look this up because I just recently switched over. Oh yeah. We're gonna do UNEOS. Oh, sorry. UNEOS. I'm sorry. That's not it. Sorry. I had a clothing line. That's not anymore. It's Among Gods. So AMONGGODS.
Perfect. And you have a TikTok too, don't you?
Yeah, that's Best Designer You Know. So you can just look that up. Okay. All in one phrase. Yeah.
Okay. Best Designer You Know on TikTok. And there's been videos on this that was done because I shared them.
The videos are awesome. Yeah, the videos are dope, dude.
So there's some pretty good videos on there. I would say TikTok is probably the best way to get a feel for your energy and your work, to be honest. I feel like that's where you've done a lot of your, like, you could interact pretty easily with you on there and your energy. Yeah. We've been on here for about an hour, and that's about what I wanted to be on here for. So I want to thank everyone. I see Aaron was on here for a while. I don't know if Aaron's still here or not. I don't know you well, but I think you're a very amazing lady. Talking to Julia and Alyssa, it looks like. That was nice. Yeah, so thanks for tuning in. Hi Diane, I don't know if you're still here or not, but thanks for tuning in. Thanks for everybody's comments. Feel free to share this if you want to. There was just a lot of beautiful conversations in here. Thank you, Antoine, for gracing us with your knowledge and your energy. And fuck, man, I just love you so much.
I know. When me and you are together, it's like,
it's like, woo, damn.
Yeah. So we can have a part 2, even with without talking about art. We go to a whole nother direction. If you just want us, do another part 2.
I think that would be fantastic. Maybe we need to get a podcast going for the 2 of us. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
There's some divine feminine, divine masculine going on here. I don't know.
Yep.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for everybody's support and love, and I appreciate you. And we will catch you on the fucking flip side. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.